Winning Mentality with me, Charlie Bosco. My guest today is Kriss Akabusi, who's had a career as varied as it has been successful. He had a pretty tough start in life. He grew up in a children's home in London, the son of absent parents, and we touch on how that affected him and his athletic career. He then joined the British Army, and in the army he met Sergeant Mackenzie, who would change his life. We discussed his early life and delved deep into his athletic career. I also managed to get a world exclusive from Kriss. He said that this was the first time he'd admitted that maybe he did stay on a year too long, should have retired in 1992. One personal highlight for me was when Kriss referred to my own very modest climbing and mountaineering career. He refers to outdoorsy people like me as woolly hatters, but regardless of the terminology, it's certainly the first time I've had my sporting career related to that of an Olympic medalist. Ultimately, if I had to sum up Kriss Akabusi in one word, it would be passionate. His extraordinary enthusiasm and desire to live fully blew me away, and I have to confess that at times I was so engrossed that I actually forgot I had to ask another question. I just wanted to sit and listen, and I think you will too. Kriss, welcome to the podcast. Pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, Charlie. Just emphasising Charlie. Very, very happy to be here.
Yeah, we had a name mistake earlier on. It's fine, I can forgive it. And the first thing I want to know is, do you have your Olympic medal with you?
Always. Oh, my gosh, isn't that amazing? I would have been gutted if not. But, Charlie, here it is, mate. I carry it everywhere with me. It's been with me every single day of my life. I'm telling you, Paul, because I've lost it 3 times. I've lost it 3 times. So if I've not lost it, it's with me.
Well, tell me how you lose it. And how did you get it back?
Yeah, it's a miraculous thing. And the first time I lost it, I'd only had it for about 3 months. I was at Crystal Palace. It was in my shoe bag. Someone nicked my shoe bag. They nicked my shoe bag. My medal was in my shoe bag. And fortunately, the person that found the shoe bag found the medal still in it. So, and that time my name was edged on the side, so it just came straight back to me. I can't remember what happened the second time. The third time, my cleaner found it stuck in one of the settees. So I'd lost it and couldn't find it. I lost it for about 3 months. And then my cleaner...
Oh, you must have been terrified.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was gutted. Not so much I was gutted because, you know, you can't really get a replica. And even if you get a replica, it's not the one that they put around your neck when you won it. So, you know, I mean, that's worth more than silver. You know, it's the night when I got that with Todd, who's passed away now, with Todd, Gary Cook and Phil Brown. You know, it meant so much.
It's literally priceless. I'm trying to think how to describe this to the audience. I've never touched an Olympic medal. I'm holding the medal. Extraordinary. It's heavier than I thought.
Yeah, well, it's what I would say as well. Well, that's real silver, and it's the real McCoy. Back in the day, I mean, but yeah, back in the day, they put actually silver in the medals. Now they did great big dinner plates. So you know,
well, it's quite small, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's small. So basically, what you got with the silver medal, on the one side they have what's called the Victor Ladorum, and then if you can remember at school, some medals at school where you've got the victorious person being put on the shoulders by all the sort of like the Greco-Roman world, you know, through the amphitheatre. So you've got the Victor Ladorum on the one side, and then on the other side, because this was Los Angeles, you got the Angel of Los Angeles, and over the Coliseum where we competed. And every single games will have that theme. So like Sydney had, Australia had the Sydney Opera House on the one side and the Victor Ladorum on the other. These ones are much smaller and thick set, you know, which will be much more akin to the Greco-Roman world again, whereas today, I don't know why, the trend is to have these great big wide dinner plates, but it's thick set, it's really heavy, it's got a decent amount of silver in it, but like you said, it's not even the silver or the gold, it's what the Germans call the Denkmal. It's the thought of what happened on the day, and you can see my medal, if you look at the you can see where it's all rubbed off, where it's been in my pocket all over now, so it's not as sharp around the edges, and my name is no longer on the side.
That's an extraordinary memento. Just tell me, if you can, why you carry that every day. Did that medal just transform your view of yourself and your life?
100%, Charlie. So, I was brought up in a children's home, and the children's home was a really important part of my life. When I think about my philosophy, my basic philosophy is this, is that you are thrown into the world against your say-so. Nobody, there's 7.6 billion people in this world, but none of us asked to be born. That's one thing we had in common. We were chucked into the world, and we wake up in a family, in a culture, with a language, etc. And I woke up basically being abandoned by a mum and living in the children's home and foster parents. And the corollary to that as well is that none of us asked to die. Very few people actually want to die. We fight hammer and tongs to stay alive. But again, we get ripped out of this world against our say-so. And in between, there's this gap, which is your life, which is the sum total of all the choices that you make. And I carry this medal as a representation of when I finally took charge of my life, when I finally recognised it was my life and I'm responsible for my life. I can't blame my mum, my dad, my cousin, my culture, my background. I joined the army. I'd met Sergeant Mackenzie. He was my very first mentor, role model. He saw potential in me. And there's a Buddhist saying, when the pupil is ready, the teacher appears. I was ready. He appeared. And I embraced him with all its fullness. And embracing him, I found my sport. I had real clarity. And I know this podcast is about winning mentality. And one of the key tenets of winning mentality is to have an absolute clarity about who you are, what your purpose, and what you're designed to do. And then going for it hell for leather. There are nobody who stands in the rostrum who's not got absolute clarity about what to do each day and every day. And so this medal here is just synonymous with me gaining clarity. All of a sudden, I wasn't this naughty kid from the children's home. I wasn't the clown. I was a professional athlete, and I was focused on being the very best I could possibly be.
Well, there's so many questions I want to ask you off that, but I'm sitting here wide-eyed, inspired. I feel like I want to go for a run. But that's extraordinary. But I think another really unusual thing about you is you didn't seem like you were a child prodigy. You weren't this kid that was destined to be great from the start. You joined the army, and you said you met Sergeant Mackenzie. That's a really unusual start in athletics.
Yeah.
Were you naturally gifted?
No. What you said was unnaturally gifted. Yeah, I think that my gift was stickability. I've got quite a wiry body that didn't break down. So I wasn't gifted in the sense that I had sheer speed. I wasn't gifted in the sense that I was the strongest. And certainly when I was at school, I also wasn't very disciplined. Now, it's clear if you want to succeed at anything, you have to have discipline. You've got to be committed to the cause and be very, very disciplined. But I think that what I recognised was that my strength was my strength. My body didn't break down. You could really load it, pile a lot of pressure on it, and it came back the next day and could take more. So one of my training colleagues, Roger Black, who had this phenomenal horse-like speed and strength, he was a heavy guy. He was like 14 and a half stone, but could run 10.5 for the 100 meters. He could run 20.4, but broke down. That great big body broke down.
Couldn't handle the volume.
Yeah, exactly, the volume and the stresses involved with world-class training. He still posted great times, but he was injured as much as he was on the track. My strength was just my strength. I didn't get injured.
But your strength was also your mentality. You've mentioned it already, an incredibly strong mindset, and you've also mentioned that you had a hard childhood. Do you think that, tough as that was at the time, in the long run, it made you a better athlete?
Yeah, I think that what we do is I've got loads of sayings. One of my sayings is the past is for reference, not for residence. The past is for reference, not for residence. And we get to choose to refer to the best parts of my past or the negative parts of my past. Look, I didn't have the easiest childhood, but then again, I don't know how many of us do. We've all got a story. We've all got a backstory. We've all got a background. We've all got some great things in our life. We've got some bad things in our life. Those people that succeed in life choose to major on the good stuff in life and not the bad stuff. Now, you could look at my life and say, God, poor me, poor me. Or you can say, actually, hang on. I was immersed in diversity from a very early age. And when I was 12 years of age, I recognised my mother wasn't coming. I cried every day in my life from 4 to 12 because I wanted my mummy. But when I got to 12, I finally realised she isn't coming. And then on the back of that, I realised I've got to take care of myself. Now, I've been trained since 12 years of age to take control of myself, to be in charge of myself, to trust myself, to actually trust that other people will come to your aid. Because one of the funny things was, if all the traumas I had in my life, actually at the right time, there was a person that showed up and helped me. So when I was abandoned on a train station at 6 years of age, me and my brother, we come into Paddington, we had a bar of chocolate each, abandoned a train station. A nice woman came, saw us, took us to the police station. Now, a million different scenarios could have happened. But this woman came in as an angel, took this boys to the police station, ensured that the police take care of us, and we landed up in a lovely children's home. Now, so I've got this magical thinking as part of my DNA. I know that I've got to take care of myself. I know that I'm resilient, but I also know that people come into your life at the right time to guide you through that next epoch, to guide you through that next step. That woman did it on the train station. Simon McKenzie did it as an athlete. I've got a friend that's helping now as I'm doing my property business. So it's always and I really believe that once you key into that story, once you key into that archetype, it happens to you all the time because that's your world and you call it into being. That is your world. And so, yeah, I know I've got all the attributes and I know people come up into my life.
A friend of mine described it as meeting your luck halfway.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a nice way to put it. But let's just go forward to when you did start your athletic career and you met Sergeant Mackenzie. He was a massive influence. How did you use all this energy that you clearly have? I mean, people can't see this, but while we're talking, you're moving around and gesturing. How did you use that energy positively before that? And how did getting into athletics change your mindset and your outlook?
So when I was a kid at school, I now understand myself at school. I was a pain in the backside at school. But I was a pain in the backside at school because the school in the European system is was back in the day, very rote, memory, chalk and talk, sit in lines, and I couldn't contain my energy. So I'd get bored really quickly. I'd be jumping up. I'd be doing all sorts of stupid things, and I'd be the person who gets canes and get the slipper. I was the clown of the class. Oh, who's going to flick a pellet at the maths teacher? Akabusi, yeah. Hits the back of the teacher, gets checked out of class, gets the cane because you have corporal punishment, gets the cane. So my energy was used destructively. When I joined the army, and I realised that I wanted to stay in the army, that this was my only chance of survival, and we are creatures that either, first of all, struggle to survive, and then once we're safe, secure, then try to thrive. So once I'd got my survival, and I wanted to stay in the army, I all of a sudden realised when I met Mackenzie that this was an opportunity actually to be recognised for doing something good, to be recognised rather than as a clown and a stupid person getting cut out of it and being a liability to all the class, and an opportunity to be an asset to the army. And then what I found is the same energy, enthusiasm that was a negative trait at school was a real positive trait, because people get to like me. People want to train with me. Sergeant Mackenzie couldn't wait to meet me and reveal what we're going to be doing next. And I was, I was starry-eyed and I was really excited about doing the next thing. And if I didn't achieve the session, oh my gosh, I'll be drastically floored because I couldn't finish the session. And then he'd engage me and I'll be back up again. And and so all of a sudden, that energy, enthusiasm encouraged my training partners. And it became an asset. And even today in my life, I earn my money as a professional speaker, but there's no doubt that what people also buy is the energy and enthusiasm that I have for my life. So it is amazing how this skill set or attribute that was a negative when I was a kid has actually been positive throughout the rest of my life.
And we touched on this earlier, but as soon as you started athletics, did you have this passion for it? Do you just think, oh, this is it for me?
I don't want to tell porkies. So yes, it's interesting because you can be motivated towards achieving something, great, or the fear of losing something. When I got into athletics, initially it was an exciting moment because I had nothing to lose. And I was clearly the best in the little camp we had up there. I was clearly the best. And within a year, I was the Army Junior Champion. I was clearly the best junior. But then as you start putting yourself on the line and start climbing up, actually, a fear came over me. I didn't want to lose. I didn't, because I've always seen myself as an outsider, but I wanted to be an insider. And I wanted to be the best representative of my family. I remember when I started representing the army, I wanted to be the best representative of the army. And so if there was a great army outfit I was competing against, I'll be absolutely petrified of not performing at my best. So, and it was right up to international level. When I represented my country, I'd go to the Europeans or the World Championships. The biggest fear, the biggest driver wasn't actually winning the gold, although that was my focus. The biggest driver was actually letting everybody down and not doing what I could actually do. And it was a massive driver. And I'd absolutely be shaking in my knees and defecating myself and asking myself, what the hell am I doing here? But when they said competitors on your marks and you got into your blocks, I'd have a Geronimo moment where I'd say Geronimo, which was a trigger word, which meant do or die, there is no try, and just go hell for leather. And all of a sudden, once you got into it, it'd all feel peace and calm again. And generally, if at major championships, I would either win or perform my best in losing. And I wasn't the greatest when it comes to doing the circuit, but I never let myself down in major championships. And then yes, then my energy doesn't come back into play. But I really don't want you not to know that one of the key drivers was fear. The fear of not performing, the fear of not doing what you can do. And you know what? I often say to people, if you don't have fear, then you're not trying hard enough. You know, what you do, your what I call woolly hatting, when you go outside and you climb and you got your finger jams and you got your fingers jammed into your rocks and you're leaning away, and there's that pinnacle. You got to have an element of fear because you're trying something that you haven't done before, or you've only done once before, or you fell once before, and it's that fear that makes you really go for it. And then the elation when you actually achieve it, when you've gone out on the edge, that precipice, you've gone as far as you think you can, and then you've actually done more. I mean, mate, it's just wonderful. It's just amazing just to go there, to really push yourself. And, I mean, I always say, like, I was the best in the army. Then I was the best in the inter services, came down. Then I looked up, oh my gosh, I got all these guys in England, best in England. Look down, and bet neighbours think, oh, look up again. All those European competitors, and I struggled, and oh my gosh, I'm the best in Europe. You look down at everyone below you, and oh my gosh, it's the best in the world. You can have a go. And then I have a go, and actually, I got to number 3 in the world. Now, in the one side, the failure of only being number 3 is also my greatest glory, because I had to push myself to the nth degree and realise, there's 2 people in the world who are better than you at what you chose to do. But I would never have known that if I hadn't extended myself to a place I'd never been. A lot of people can easily say, oh, I'm the best in the army, that's all that matters. No, I went right to the pinnacle. I went right to the abyss. I got all comers, and I got to number 3 in the world.
So I'm guessing you look back with no regrets now. Do you feel you got every drop out of yourself?
Yeah.
There was nothing more?
No, I mean, if I say no regrets, again, that'd be Tim Porky's, because the only regret I have is in 1991, and actually, this regret is probably what fed into my greatest success with the 4x4. In 1991, I ran the 400 hurdles, and I wasn't expected to win the event, although there's no athlete at that level who doesn't go in there think that they can win the event. So I had an opportunity to win. I mean, I think if you run the race 5 times, I would have won it once or twice. So I had a good chance to win it, but I wasn't the favourite to win it. But I remember that race. I had a great start, and your start's important when you're running. What separates world-class athletes in the 400 from also runs is that the world-class athlete flies out of the blocks, goes hammer and tongs for the first 90 metres. Because there's a system in your body that you use it or you lose it, and the normal person knows he's got 400 and doesn't dare go hammer and tongs. So, and I got out, I stayed out, I flowed over the first few barriers. Anyway, I come into the last 100 metres, 2 of us to go, and I'm right up there with Winthrop Graham, and I forgot who we were on it, but I realised I was catching them. So I was right up there and I was catching them and I had the strength. But what I did, the schoolboy error, by noticing them, I then took my eye off of what I was doing. That is my own lane. And I clicked the hurdle 9, and I was lucky to get back up on my feet, and I came third. And I realised to myself there that why I said it's my only regret, because I think if I hadn't taken my eye off the prize, my own lane, if I hadn't looked at somebody else, I in myself believe I could have won. I think I had the momentum to win. Or it would have been a lot closer, it would have been dipping on the line. As it happens, I came third, I was annoyed with myself, and I put all of that energy back into the relay. But having said that, I ran as quick as I ever could have run. Number 3 in the world is probably a great representation of who I really, really was. But there was a chance, just that little chance, I could have been a world champion in my own right, and that would have been phenomenal.
That's a fascinating insight into the mind of an athlete and the mindset of someone who's driven. What are we now? 27 years later, it still slightly bugs you.
Yeah.
You know, when by any measure of a normal person, you've been vastly successful, not only in athletics, but in your post-athletics career, but it's still...
Yeah.
Do you lie in bed and think about it, or is it just because I asked that you brought it up, or is it still something that you know, when you're playing golf on your own, you sometimes think, God, if only.
So no, I don't lie in bed and think about it. So what happens when I'm playing golf? But there are moments when I think it. Like someone like you will ask me that question, or I speak about my performances. And I'm doing a workshop, and I'm encouraging people to be the very best they can possibly be and putting themselves out on the limb. And then I have to remember, but there was a time when I was delinquent. There was a time when actually I was at the coalface and I was digging away and I just took my right eye off and I hit the wrong spot. I didn't hit the spot. And it's a warning to us all. It's you know, it's part of our hero, it's part of the hero's journey. It's part of the hero's journey. And look, there's nothing to say if I had won that, I might have won that. I might have been part of the World Championships relay winning team. So I've got to accept that actually, you know, that is your story and you can't go back. You can't go back. So I have to accept that's my story. That's happened. And one of the interesting things is Charlie, it lays with me, it bugs me. It doesn't bug anybody else. Nobody else cares. And in 50 years' time, when I'm dead, nobody else will know. That's one of the things that amazes me in life. That all these issues that I've got bubbling in my head, in 50 years' time, no one else cares and no one will know. It will be as if it never happened. It's only in my head. And that's the thing with all of us. A lot of the things that matter so much to us, good or bad, is just in your head. You know, in 50 years from now, it won't matter a jot. That's why I say to people, live your full life today. Engage with your life today, because it's your life, my friend.
It's such a good mindset, and that one of my favourite phrases is you become who you hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And I like hanging out with people that when you're giving yourself a hard time and you're having an existential crisis or regretting something, and they say, you're doing okay, actually.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And like with you, as I say, you've been massively successful in everything in life, and it's good to remember that actually, it's not that big a deal in the long run.
Yeah. No, so it's not a big deal. And it's just that for me, look, I'm going to make mistakes going forward. You do make mistakes. But for me to know that you can be at the zenith, you can be at your high spot, and you can still be distracted and miss the mark. Now, okay, I can't do anything about that, but I can do something about coming forward. So it's just a reminder, no matter how good you are, no matter how sweet the spot, you can be distracted and miss the mark.
Well, how long was that race, and how long were you looking outside your lane?
Yeah, well, it's not even me. It was
40 seconds.
Yeah, it was 47 seconds. The race lasted 47 seconds, and I was probably distracted for less than a second. It was a split part of the second, but it was enough for me to shorten my stride and miss the mark. And that's the thing. I mean, okay, you know, every now and again, naughty, I might look at my phone when I'm driving, right? Now, I know you shouldn't do it. I know that I'm competent of driving, but you never have an accident until you have an accident. So if I ever have an accident and I pick up my phone, I will blast myself. Because it doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how sharp you are, all of us can have a moment's distraction that makes you miss the mark. And I think that's my lesson from that moment, is that it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, God, the job that you do, you climbing, God forbid, you're so competent at what you do, and you go and you risk, it's just a moment distraction, and it could be over, Charlie. Now, that is part and parcel of why you do it, because you're on the edge, and you know you're competent, but just a moment distraction. I mean, look, it just blows my mind because, I don't know, whether you believe that there is a rhyme and a reason to this place and that there is a God and all that sort of stuff that makes us say, or whether it's by accident. What I do know is that I'm here. I'm here right here now. But just a moment distraction and it can be dark.
It's a wonderful insight because it makes everything seem very trivial but also very important at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's just a really, really nice way to live, is to constantly remember that it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But it matters to you.
Charlie, 100%. I mean, Charlie, this is your life and you're living it. Literally, I don't want anybody listening to this not to understand. This is your life and you are living it. This is not a dream. You are really here in the here and now. And the quality of that life is down to you. You get to choose. Now, it's easy to sleepwalk through life, and then one day, someone grabs you out of life. You don't ask for it. Just say, Charlie, time up, boom, gone. What? I'm not finished yet. I'm not ready yet. Yeah? Or you give it 100% and you're ready. You're all spent up. You are done. It's just a shell that they're chucking away. I want to be done. I want to live the life the fullest. Time is my friend and it is my foe. I want it to be my friend more than my foe. And it's only by living purposely, on purpose, each day and every day. Look, and it's a wonderful life. It's an incredible life. It's an amazing opportunity. 7.6 billion people are along this globe. And I'm speaking with Charlie. Charlie today, you and I, literally here. Never been done before, never done again. Literally, you and I here today, engaged with passionate living. Many people live before us. Many billion people will live after us. But in here and now, I'm here with you. Passionately living. For me, it's just phenomenal.
I find it hard to think, to carry on the conversation. I'm so engaged. I'm staring at you while you...
But it's just the reality of life. I mean, it's because it's so... When I think about life, I just think to myself, it's so miraculous in as much as it doesn't have to be. There could literally be sheerly nothingness, absolute nothingness. And yet I woke up one day and I was alive. And all of a sudden in that life, I meet other people that are alive and recognise me, Charlie. I'm here and they recognise me. And I can have fun, I can go on a journey with these people and we can do phenomenal stuff, Charlie. Really can do the phenomenal stuff. And I have these powerful, phenomenal memories. And I build on these memories and I make more brilliant stuff. And yet I'm aware, one day, lights out. And whether you believe transcendence and God and the harps and all that sort of stuff, or you believe utter and total darkness forever and ever, amen, it's immaterial. What matters is here today, I'm with you. Alive, vibrant and living.
What a summary. Wow. Okay. Well...
I'm loving life, Charlie. I'm loving
No, I am too. I'd love it. Okay, let's talk athletics again.
Yes,
I feel like I've just done the 400 hurdles. Listen, it's so exciting. I'm so fired up. You mentioned earlier 1991 Tokyo. Third place in the 400 hurdles. That's the moment I remember from you. I'm sorry, I was busy being born in 1984.
exactly. You're the very
Sorry
young
if that
man.
makes you feel a bit old.
I get it all the time, my friend, don't worry.
But I was 7 in 1991, and that's one of my earliest memories. Got very vague memories of it. That was the 4x400 relay,
Yeah.
and people should go back and watch it on YouTube. You got the baton in second place
Yeah.
behind, correct me if I'm wrong, the world champion.
Yeah, Antonio Pettigrew.
Yeah. And you won the race,
Yeah.
and you had no right to win it.
Yeah.
Talk us through that day.
Yeah. It was a phenomenal experience and actually a massive learning curve, because although in a way you're right, we shouldn't have won it. What won it on the day there was 4 guys who totally believed in each other and believed in the strategy that they had embraced. And that's, again, there's so much in life, a winning mentality in this. So normally, if you speak to people about relay running, we're always encouraged as young kids, you put your best man on the last leg, and your second best guy goes on the first leg, and then you've got the other 2 guys going in the middle. But what we'd recognise as we looked over athletic history is that in the 4x4, running that style meant that the Americans had won the last 35 major races because they were so much better than us, man for man. And so what we decided to put our best man, Roger Black, on the first leg to get us into contention. And Dave Redmond, the only other quarter miler, or second leg, to keep us on the dance. And then we've only got 2 legs to think about. And then we've got John Regis, who was a 200-metre runner. So that's another massive innovation. We put John Regis onto the third leg. And then I was going to be the last leg. Because of my experience, and hopefully, the strategy was they would even give me a 10-metre lead, which is way ahead of the pack, or on the jock shop of the American. Now, you're right. When the layman thinks about it, they say, well, hang on, why would you want to be on the jock shop of the American? He's better than you anyway. Why would you give him a couple of yards start? It's not as easy as that. If you, we all know about turbulence and the peloton effect. If you watch cyclists, the guy that you see that the cyclist, someone will lead it for a while, and then he'll drop to the back of the pack, and he gets dragged along by the coefficient, right? And then the person who's at the front is always taking all of the turbulence and breaking the wind, right? And it's the same with geese. If you look at lessons from geese, basically, if you watch geese flying, when they're going transatlantic, you don't have one lead geese. You have a lead geese, and everybody else feathers in behind them, and they get carried along, and then the guy at the back goes to the front, etc., etc. So we took lessons from that.
One of Sir Alex Ferguson's favourite fables, the geese.
Yeah, lessons from geese.
Yeah, he used to stop the training and point up whenever geese flew over Man United's training ground.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is a lovely YouTube video called Lessons from Geese, and it's phenomenal. It's a great video. I mean, it's old now. It's probably about 50 years old. But there's a truism in that. So by putting Roger first, what we did was instead of being 35 metres behind, instead of being 7 metres behind, we were right up with the Americans. And then we right up to the Americans. And then John gives me the baton, as he said, 2 metres behind. And so I was able to be on the jock of the American. And what that means is that he's the person now who's breaking all the wind. I can tuck him behind him. I've got the coefficient being dragged along under his slipstream. So I'm actually able to work less and run just as quick. And that's the thing. He's using more energy by leading than I am. Right? If I'd been 2 or 3 minutes ahead of him, I'd have been doing exactly the same. Now, it's really important that I was 2 metres behind him and not 3 or 4 metres. Because if I was 3 or 4 metres, then what happens is the vortex that he creates means the wind breaks around him, and I actually get the turbulence off him as well. So now I'm not only just competing against the environment, but also the turbulence that he creates. So then I've got no chance, right? So, and also if I'd been 3 or 4 minutes ahead of him, because he's better than me, he comes up to my slipstream and bang, he blows me up. So it actually was the ideal place where I was situated. Going around the track, it was so easy. I thought we were jogging because I was in his slipstream, and it was, it really was effortless. And it was only when we come into the last turn when I've got to make a decision. I can see he's already gone for it.
Can you see in his gait that he's
you can see
struggling?
He's gone. Yeah, he's struggling because he's fighting. He's still thinking. Well, my narrative is he's thinking, what's happening? Why is this bozo still with me? He's a hurdler, and not good one at that. He only come third. I'm the best in the world. Why is he still with me? That's my narrative. But anyway, when I come past him, he loses all form. I go past him, and then with about 35 minutes to go, I realised I've just gone past the world champion. And therein was my mistake. Because all of a sudden, my mind gets taken off our strategy, the way that we were running, the way that we were planning, the way it was going for us, down to me. I'm the only thing that can lose it. It's all down to me. And all of a sudden, I start tying up. I'm struggling towards the line. And I tell you what, if that line had been another 5 meters on, I think you'd have come back and got me. So again, it's another lesson. It's another lesson. You know, that hey, you know, I had a role to play, but it wasn't just about me, it was about the team. And while I was connected to the team, we were all winning. Once I realised that I'm the only one who could drop the ball, I started losing.
I'm amazed to hear this because, as anyone who's listened to the last half an hour will know, you're exceptionally positive. And I'm amazed, that's twice now, that you said the fear of failure was such a huge motivator. That seems so out of kilter with your whole demeanour.
Yeah. But the fact is, you know, again, this is part and parcel of the human condition. In the human condition, we are, as again, I said, look, we're chucked into this world, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. We're here, and at any minute we can die. And your brain is hardwired to survive or to strive. At any moment in life, there's a moment when you think, am I going to survive this? You know, am I going to die? Because if you don't, then you do die. If you are not aware of the potential danger and that you could actually die, snuffed out, no consciousness, you will get snuffed out in no consciousness. So when we're in our competitive environment, there are, you know, the dendrites and synapses in our mind are firing all the time. Survive, thrive, survive, thrive, survive, thrive. You know, and you can get caught up in striving and thriving. Yes. And, you know, here I'm striving and thriving. But if something pops up, I'm going to die, you observe it and you palm it away. You do something to get it, you know, and you either fight, you know, or you flight or you freeze. These are psychosomatic responses. They happen. So I'm vitally aware that there are moments when I'm in survival mode. I'm fearful for my life. Now, it's because I'm in that I get superhuman strength. I'm still here. Charlie, I'm still here. I have not died. I'm 60, I'm still here. Because I get superhuman strength. I fight. So it was when I realised I was going to die, that's when I started fighting again. That's when I realised, emergency, adrenaline rushes, forget the lactate, you're not struggling, come on. And you fight. And I fight because I know I'm about to die. I fight. If you see an animal that's about to die, it lasts bare strength. It fights. And so actually, because of the fear of failure, I give my last bare strength. If you beat me then, you beat me. I deserve to die. Did you get me? You tap into that primordial, basic, animalistic strength. You are in what's called Dionysian strength. It's all about energy, passion, and purpose. Forget what's called Apollonian. Apollonians are cool, calm, and collected, rational, where you're striving and you're planning, you're strategic. Here, that's great when you know what you're doing. But when you're in chaos, when you are dying, you need Dionysius, the god of Dionysus, and you fight. You don't die.
I just get distracted and think, oh, I've got to ask another question. No, what strikes me is it's like you accept that we're not perfect. So instead of just saying, well, my mindset's wrong, or you should always be positive, or you shouldn't be afraid of failure, it's like, okay, accept the human condition, accept human mentality, make the best of each part of that.
Absolutely. 100%, Charlie. 100%. We are, I mean, I think we are the pinnacle of the animals, but we are animals. And it is a fight for survival. And, you know, I mean, I do think you need a positive winning mentality. But you know what? I mean, I also say this, you know, is that there will come a day when I will give up the fight, when I will realise it's time to die. And I think you can die well. Again, in the Greco-Roman world, you could die well. The way you died was as important as the way you lived. And in fact, the way you died is what gave you your name. More than the way you lived, it's the way that you die. The way as a gladiator, you go in there and you go for your last final day and you die and you kill me. The way that you die. So you know, I'm not scared of death, because whether it's a heaven or whether it's oblivion, I will live my life well. When I die, my children and my family and those people will say, this man lived well. He lived his life well. I got every single ounce out of me. And I strove to be the very best I could possibly be. And in those dark moments of fear, I fought off those demons. I fought off Father's arm. I fought off that sickle. And, gosh, the man of death that hangs, the shadow of death. I fought it off and I fought it off. And I strived. And I survived. And I thrived. And I made my mark in this world. I made my mark in this world. And then finally, you die. I mean, I'm not one, you get these guys who get cancer, for example, and hats off to them. They fight and they fight and they fight. I will know when it's time to turn the lights off, and I'll go. I'll go quicker than it. I'll go. When it's my time to go, I will go. Because I don't want, I don't want to be one of those guys who labour on, and I've got a colostomy bag and I'm peeing in my pants, getting my language, people. Don't mean, but when it's time for me to go, I want to go. Because I've had a cracking life. I've lived it on the edge. I've done everything I want to do and more. There's plenty of I still want to do. I've got lovely kids and stuff. But when it's my time to go, I will go. Because I'm not scared of. I'm not scared of ultimate darkness. And I'm not scared of heaven either. There's a guy called Epicurus. Epicurus said this: "Where I am, death is not. Where death is, I am not." And I know that there's been a long history of time when I wasn't here. And there'll be a long history of time looking forward where I will not be here. While I'm here, I will be here. And when I'm not, I'm not.
Listening to that actually reminds me of something really interesting I heard you say on another podcast. Other podcasts are available. They're just not quite as good as this one.
Absolutely.
About your final season in athletics.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's about the only time I've heard you sound as if you were experiencing ambivalence. It's athletes say when it's time to go, and I hear you're so incredibly passionate about life and everything you do to the maximum, and you make the most of every day, and all these sentiments. And the only time I've heard you not sound like that is when you retired.
Good. Actually, that's good, Charlie. I didn't think about that. So, most athletes don't know when it's time to go. Now, after the relay in 1991, I was on fire Christian at the time. I was down in Southampton. And the pastor said to me, "Chris, you've got what's called a mountaintop experience. It's phenomenal, it's fantastic. But you do have to come back down the mountain. So you're going to need to ask yourself, when do I come back down off this mountain?" That was a good question you asked me. So through 1992, Olympic year, training wasn't as easy as it had been.
Physically,
yeah. I just wasn't up for it as much. It hurt me so much more. It was a struggle. Half the time, I only turned up at the track because Roger Black, who was my training partner, was at the track. And actually, I thank Roger, because if he hadn't been there, I might not have turned up at the track. And if you don't train, you can't deliver. So I turned up with him and I trained and I gave my best. And actually, funny enough, in 1992, I again broke the British record. So I ran my best time ever. But I knew this was it. This is my last year. In May and June, my races were not particularly good, and I went away to warm river training, and boom, hit that track in warm river training, and just stepped up, and then went to Olympic Games, and bam, I came third, got my bronze medal both in the relay and the hurdles. But I announced I retired, and I'd retired, and I was very happily retired because I knew that all these young whippersnappers were around me, and it was their time, not my time, and I couldn't fight them off anymore. So the fear of I could not fight them off anymore. But I got convinced in the following 1993 to come back out of retirement and run for the United Kingdom in the the Europa Cup, and that was a big mistake because I went out there. I ran 48.3, which was 0.6 of a second outside my personal best. I was still the best in the country, even though I hadn't been training properly. But I got beat in the Europe by the European. I'd not been beaten for about 5 years by a European. I got beaten by a European. I come second, I think, or was it third or fourth? I can't even remember. There's no relevance. No, I think I come second. I must have got points. I think I must have come second. I think I came second to Diagana, the Frenchman. who went on to be European champion and European record holder. So it was a good person to come second to if there's any such thing as that. But I did myself a disservice. I ran around the circuit, earned a few bob, which is why I kept on running, because I was going to just run a few bob. And I went to Sheffield, put on my slippers, and Sheffield was my last race. It was quite a weird one, because I knew that it was my last race. Last time I was going to run in front of a crowd. The promoter gave me a decent field, which I could beat, and I did beat them. But it was a very funny season because I was Mickey Mouse, really. I wasn't really, the last 10 years, when I went into that arena, I wanted to be the best. That year, I was just doing it. I was just earning a few bob. I was just doing it. And if I'd been a gladiator, I'd have died that year. I'd have been killed, gone. I should have been gone last year, but I did it for a few bob.
Did you learn a lesson from that? If you're going to do it well.
Yeah. I think that when I retired, I actually retired in 1992 at the Olympic Games in Barcelona, where I broke the British record, and I came third, and I got beaten by two people that are better than me. I should never run again. I should never run again. That was it. And funny enough, Charlie, I've never said that before. This is the first time thinking about that actually, in pure athletic, champion performer, gladiatorial terms, I should never have run again. If I was in the Greco-Roman world, I was coming out of the Colosseum, I'd have stood in the Colosseum, I'd have looked at all those fans that have held me for being a great champion, and I'd have gone, and I'd been drinking wine and honey and eating grapes, and I'd have gone and retired. Whereas what I actually did was I came back the next year as a shadow of myself, and I got slain by the French gladiator. He slew me. Do you know what I mean? A bit dramatic, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is. You're either winning or you're losing.
Do you think part of you is subconsciously a bit scared about what to do next? Just putting off the real world for a bit longer?
No, I was very clear. No, I was very clear what I was going to do next, because back in that day, the athletes are quite high profile. I'm a little bit crazy, a little bit zany. I knew I was going to get into TV. I didn't know I was going to go into professional speaking, so I've actually earned my money and my profession as a speaker. But I knew I was going to get into TV because I had loads of offers. All right. I think that what happened there, really, if I'll be honest, well, I will be honest, I'm always honest, I was being greedy. I'd built up.
So you mean carrying on running? Good money, good appearance fees.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting £5,000 a race, and I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of money in '93.
Actually, you are right. You are right, because even though I had a TV career ahead of me, what I didn't know, I didn't have a guaranteed income. So if someone said to me, "Okay, in 1993, you're going to earn 150 grand. Don't have to worry about it," I wouldn't have won. But I didn't know. What I did know, if I ran, I could earn 70 of those grands. You get me?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, ridiculous as it sounds to do athletic training, it's your comfort zone, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's what you know. And I know I can do it well. And not only that, in business language, I've got an order book. I've got a whole group of people saying, "Come over here, we'll give you £5,000. Come over here, we'll give you £5,000. Well, I don't know how many people here listening are going to go, "No, I don't want £5,000. I'm going, "Yes, please." So is that I was being greedy. I wasn't thinking about legacy. I wasn't thinking about being a gladiator. I wasn't thinking about winning. I was thinking, okay, you got a wife, you got a couple of kids, you got this opportunity. You know you're good at it. You can do it like falling off a log. Yeah, go out and run a few bob, run around. Because my justification was, I'm going to go to Seville and say goodbye to all the people in Seville. I'm going to go to Madrid and say goodbye to the people in Madrid. Helsinki, yeah. And that was my justification. And, I went to Zurich. They gave me a watch, all that sort of stuff. So, to be kind to myself, there was that side to it too. I had graced these places, and I was never going to come back to them again. And there was this opportunity to go and have an easy race. But then again, I should never be enticed to run the Europa Cup, because that's a competition. Do or die, there is no try. I didn't take it seriously, so I went out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you just need that samurai's desperation, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's one thing to know you need it, and another thing to embrace it and say, "Yeah, I'm retiring.
Yeah,
I'm going to put myself out there.
Yeah,
just take my chances."
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a double-edged sword because in a way I had retired. You know, I hadn't trained. I trained because you can't. I mean, I still train now, not like then, but you know, I trained, but I hadn't trained. So okay, there's a difference from training that is going out running some reps for fun, training, and having an image of performing at the peak of your prime against the best in the world. You put in the images in your mind, the reoccurring runs that you do when you think of being where you're going to be in at what stage of the race. It's a completely different mentality. Now, all the way up, I'd always had a big goal, a major championships. I had competitors, you know, so I knew, Ed Moses, Danny Harris, Samuel Matete. You know, you had all these pictures. You could see them in your dreams. You could fight for the prize with them. All that sort of stuff. Yeah, I had that all my life. 1993, I didn't have any of that. I just woke up. Watch what time? Yeah, see you at 10:30. Yeah, what are we doing today? 4:03. Yeah, okay, lovely. See you out there. And it's when you go out and you run, it's just a different sense, different urgency, different vibration, and it's a big difference. It's a massive difference. You know, knowing that what you're doing now is you are preparing to fight for the prize. I'm going to go out and have a jolly.
Yeah, it's embracing it versus just ticking it off the list.
Yeah, you can't win anything unless the stakes are so high that you can die. The stakes have got to be that high that you're going to be snuffed out. Well, if you're training and you know actually it doesn't matter, then you're going to leave bits and bobs in your rucksack. You can leave them at home. You know, you're not going to prepare. You're not going to eat right. You're not going to prepare right. You're not going to journey right. You're going to go out and last the night before or not be, in the right frame of mind. You're going to go into the track. You're not going to be thinking properly. You're not going to go and be with the bang when you do your reps. There's just these little bits and bobs that are what Brailsford calls marginal gains, but these little marginal areas that are microscopic. They're just slivers. But they all mount up at the end of the year to being a massive competitive advantage.
And since you retired, how have you maintained your drive and motivation? Because one thing that's interesting about you is how diverse your career's been.
Yeah.
How many different things you've done. And correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem like you miss competing.
No, not at all. Yeah, no. My friends, it was a great time, but that's yesteryear. And I've had some great stuff since then. You know, my TV career has been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it. And I can't believe it's come back again. You know, so what I've got is people like you, Charlie, who were 7 when I was a kid. You guys are now in positions of power, so 35, 45-year-olds who were 7, 17, and now employing me again back on TV. That itself is phenomenal. But I've really got a lot of passion now in my professional speaking, my workshops and my seminars. And I'm even now, but it's all been what's called B2B, business to business. So the corporate world has really employed me to inspire and engage and entertain and inform their team and their delegates. But now, right now, as we speak, I'm now crafting a portfolio for what I think is going to be my magnus opus. And that is business B2C. I'm crafting a portfolio where I want to start off with introducing people to an evening with, so 100 people, £100, an evening with Akabusi, and you'll get this sort of passion, purpose from me when I speak to and answer your questions. I'll start off with, what is happiness, and I'll read something, what is happiness, and then we'll gauge questions and answers, etc., and get people on a journey. And what I want to do on the back of that is get 20 people that want to do a workshop and find out what we're here for. What is my passionate purpose? How do I tap the hero side of me, the real person that's yearning to come out? The things that matter most, not being left to the things that matter least, and really making sure that when you're here, you are here, and we'll go on our workshop, and we'll do our workshop, and then from those 20 people, we'll go into what I call a peer group mentoring board, and I'll have 10 of us that will meet up every month. And we'll work on what our plans are, and we'll ensure that at the end of the year, we are living on purpose. I want you to live on purpose, to live passionately, because actually when I look back, what I realise is all the things that I've done in my life, they've been on purpose. They've been on purpose. I've had a guide that's introduced me to my heroic journey, and my army, my athletics, my TV, my speaking business, my charity work, and now this, what I call career coaching, life coaching, whatever, business, is to get people on purpose and make them the hero. They set the point of your own. You can be a bit part player in everybody else's story, or you can be the main character in your own. And the problem is most of us are the bit part player in everybody else's. But if you are the main character in your own, people come from miles and miles and miles to enjoy your company, to live and breathe and have their being from your vibrant energy that you put into this world.
Kriss, in 34 years, I've never had a conversation with a more passionate, energetic and inspiring human being. I think if people could pay, I'd tell you what, you should up your prices, £100. But if people could pay to have an afternoon spent with you, I think the world would be a better place. I don't think you're going to struggle to sell the tickets.
Yeah, now it'll step up, so £100 for the evening with, and then when the full day coaching is £250, and then the peer group mentoring, which every month, that's £500, and then there's the big one-on-one. I only have 4 people every year who will take on a one-on-one journey. That'll be a lot. You price on application.
I think it'll be value for money regardless. It's just been a pleasure. I'm kind of I've never felt so inspired and passionate in my life. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You've reaffirmed me in my passion. That's my journey. To meet someone like yourself and for you to say something like that just re-inspires me, because then I know I'm on purpose. I'm on purpose.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Kriss for his time, and to the team at the Akabusi company for organising the interview. To find out more about Kriss, go to Akabusi, AKABUSI.com, where you'll find out how you could work with Kriss and where to find him on social media. Before we go, I have a quick favour to ask. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please let us know by subscribing to the show and leaving us an iTunes review. These podcasts are free, and always will be, and we produce them primarily because we enjoy doing it, and because we're interested in the people we interview, but also because we think that you enjoy hearing them too. If we're right and you do enjoy them, let us know by subscribing, reviewing and spreading the word. Speak to you next Sunday.